Hello, I'm Dr. Lance Morris, and welcome to my weekly YouTube posting. This is number 23 of a sequential series. My sophomore year of college, I had an existential crisis. I had returned to my hometown of Fairbanks, Alaska, to attend the University of Alaska. My freshman year, I matriculated at Swarthmore, supposedly one of the top-tier colleges in the world. I was particularly attracted by their accelerated master's degree program, where in 4 years you could graduate with your master's and bachelor's degree simultaneously. My freshman year, I had an opportunity to participate in a field research project in Pakistan led by my father, sponsored by Stanford, for graduate ichthyology students studying Platanista gangetica, the blind Ganges River dolphin. This project was co-sponsored by the U.S. Navy because these dolphins had an advanced and unique sonar echolocation ability. As it turned out, Swarthmore was only willing to give me 1/2 of the transfer credits that Stanford would give me for this expedition. As a result, Swarthmore made it very clear to me that involvement in this expedition would negate my ability to graduate with my master's degree in 4 years. I was frustrated and confused and definitely conflicted about what to do. Here I was again being disillusioned with so-called higher education. I chose to stay rather than participate in the expedition. Things only got worse. The professor teaching my analytical geometry and calculus class was incompetent, and his textbook was riddled with errors. Mathematics is the last place for systematic mistakes. The only saving grace for me at Swarthmore was my class in experimental psychology. Of course, as undergraduates, we weren't actually allowed to participate in any experiments, but they did give us an excellent foundation to build on. So my sophomore year, I transferred to my hometown school in Fairbanks, Alaska, University of Alaska. I mistakenly believed that surely they would understand me and my need to do independent research. When I got there, I immediately submitted 2 projects to the psychology department. One was a project using biofeedback. The premise that we could take people with snake phobia, and by putting them into an alpha-dominant brainwave state, we could systematically expose them from pictures of snakes to snakes in cages, eventually to actually holding the snakes. Through repetition of this procedure, we were actually able to get people holding snakes with no adverse reactions. Of course, before we could expand the project, the psych department shut us down. One, because I was an undergraduate, and secondly, we did not have a medical researcher involved to get medical informed consents. The second project was to take a flotation sensory deprivation tank and place people in it, both in and out of an alpha-dominant biofeedback brainwave state. The plan was to monitor vital signs and interview the participants about their subjective experiences. I was fascinated with Dr. John Lilly's work both in the creation of flotation tanks and his sentinel work with dolphin communication. Of course, this project never even got off the ground. The reasons were the same as for the previous project. Needless to say, I was frankly depressed and despondent. I lost interest in my classes and stopped attending. I went from a 4.0 student to failing everything. At the same time, the new gas and oil pipeline from Prudhoe Bay was about to begin. The oil companies and trade unions were offering fast-track training to lots of unskilled laborers. Everyone lived and worked at a camp. usually about 1,000 workers, or in pump houses, usually about 300 workers. All room and board were included. Wages started at $25 an hour. Everyone got to work 7 nines, 7 days a week and 9 hours a day. This gave them double time pay for 20 hours weekly. There were lots of other perks as well. My primary circle of friends at this time was a bunch of tree-hugging, anti-military industrial complex hippies. Our motto was to never sell out to the man. To a person, all my friends did just that. They all took jobs on the pipeline. I was already in shock. Now I went into meltdown. Driving around the edge of town, I found myself weeping so intensely I had to pull over to be safe. I would sit on the side of the road trying to figure out what was happening in what seemed to me a world gone crazy. I was at my personal lowest ebb. I even indulged suicidal ideation. I would have never acted on this, but the fact that I could even be contemplating such a thing was very unsettling and disturbing. For me, this all culminated in my existential crisis as a personal question. Are humans fundamentally good or fundamentally evil? Please join me next week as we examine this question and more. Remember to subscribe, like, and share.